My name is Serafina Blackwell. I'm 24 years old, and I'm standing on the side of Highway 95 in the middle of the Nevada desert, watching my father's bright yellow Lamborghini disappear into the heat waves. Have you ever been abandoned by the people who are supposed to love you most? Have you ever felt the ground crumble beneath your feet when you realize everything you believed was a lie? My 6-year-old daughter Madison just told my father to leave me here. Her exact words? Daddy says Sarah is worthless now. We're keeping the Lamborghini. Find your own way home, Mommy. 6 years old. And she threw me away like garbage. The desert sun burns my skin as I clutch my phone with shaking hands. No signal. No water. No money. Just me and the endless stretch of asphalt that leads to nowhere. You want to know how I got here? How a college graduate with a business degree ends up stranded by her own family? The answer will shock you. Because what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and revenge. But first, let me tell you about the golden child who destroyed my life before she could even spell her own name. Madison wasn't always my enemy. She used to be my whole world. I was 18 when she was born. Young, scared, but so full of love it hurt. Her father disappeared the moment he heard the word pregnant. My parents? They acted like I'd committed the ultimate sin. You've ruined your future, Serafina, my father said, staring at my growing belly like it disgusted him. That child will be nothing but a burden. How wrong he was. Madison became their obsession. The moment she took her first breath, everything changed. My parents, who barely spoke to me during my pregnancy, suddenly couldn't get enough of their granddaughter. She was perfect, beautiful, smart beyond her years. And me? I became invisible. Do you know what it's like to watch your own child prefer everyone else over you? To hear your mother whisper sweet things to your daughter that she never said to you? By age 3, Madison was speaking in full sentences. By 4, she was reading chapter books. By 5, she was doing math problems that impressed my father's business partners. She's going to be worth millions someday, Dad would say, bouncing Madison on his knee. Unlike some people in this family. I thought he meant because she was smart. I had no idea he meant it literally. The day I graduated college with my business degree, Madison looked at my diploma and asked, "Why did you waste all that time on something so useless?" She was 5 years old. 5. And she already knew how to cut me down with surgical precision. But here's what I didn't know then. Here's the secret that would have saved me years of pain if I'd discovered it sooner. My father isn't just comfortable like he always told me. He's worth $50 million. 50 million. And somehow, my 6-year-old daughter already knew that. While I was living paycheck to paycheck, believing we were a middle-class family, Madison was being groomed to inherit everything. Everything that should have been mine. The truck driver who picked me up had kind eyes and a daughter my age. "You look like you've seen a ghost, honey," he said, handing me a cold water bottle. What happened out there? I couldn't tell him the truth. How do you explain that your own child orchestrated your abandonment? That your family played you for a fool your entire life? Instead, I asked him to drop me off at the first town with a library. Public computers. That's all I needed to start digging. 3 hours later, I was staring at a screen that made my stomach drop to the floor. Blackwell Technologies. Founded by my father, Marcus Blackwell. Current net worth, estimated between $40 and $60 million. The same man who told me we couldn't afford to help with my college tuition. The same man who said I needed to learn the value of money by working 2 jobs while studying. My hands shook as I clicked through article after article. Photos of my father at charity galas I never knew existed. Awards for his tech innovations. Interviews where he talked about his brilliant granddaughter, who would someday take over the family business. Not once did he mention having a daughter named Serafina. Have you ever felt your entire life crumble in a single moment? Have you ever realized that the people you trusted most were playing a game where you were the only one who didn't know the rules? I kept digging. Social media profiles, business filings, public records. And then I found it. The document that made everything clear. Madison Blackwell. Age 6. listed as the primary beneficiary of the Blackwell Family Trust. Estimated value, $42 million. My daughter. My baby girl. The child I raised and loved and sacrificed everything for. She was set up to inherit everything while I got nothing. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was what I found next. A legal document filed just 3 months ago. A petition to have me declared mentally incompetent. Signed by my own father. The paralegal's office smelled like coffee and desperation. Jasmine Rodriguez had the kind of face that said she'd heard every sob story in the book. But when I told her mine, her expression changed. "Wait," she said, leaning forward. "Your 6-year-old daughter is the primary beneficiary of a $50 million trust?" $42 million, I corrected. "And yes." Jasmine whistled low. "That's not just unusual. That's legally questionable. Children that young can't make financial decisions. Someone has to be controlling that trust." "My father." "Your father, who just tried to have you declared incompetent." The pieces clicked together like a puzzle I'd been too blind to solve. Control Madison, control the money. Get rid of me, and there's no one left to question their decisions. "I've seen this before," Jasmine said, pulling out a thick folder. "Families who use children as pawns to hide assets. The kid becomes the legal owner, but the adults pull all the strings." She asked me questions I'd never thought to ask. When did the trust get established? Who else had access to the accounts? Had anyone ever used my social security number without permission? That last question hit me like a punch to the gut. "Check your credit report," she said. "Right now." My credit score was 430. There were 17 credit cards in my name that I'd never applied for. Student loans for schools I'd never attended. A mortgage on a house I'd never seen. Someone had been using my identity to rack up massive debt while protecting Madison's trust fund. "This is identity theft," Jasmine said. "And it's been going on for years." But wait. Do you know who had access to all my personal information? Who could have opened accounts in my name without me ever knowing? The same people who raised me. The same people who told me they loved me while systematically destroying my financial future. My own family. "We need to move fast," Jasmine said, reaching for her phone. "Because if they're willing to commit identity theft, they won't stop there." As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a text message. "Serafina has become a danger to herself and others. We're taking steps to ensure Madison's safety." It was from my mother. And attached was a court document scheduling an emergency psychiatric evaluation. "For me. Tomorrow. Have you ever had to run from the people who gave you life?" I spent that night in Jasmine's guest room, staring at the ceiling and trying to process the impossible. My family wasn't just stealing from me. They were trying to have me locked up. "The timing isn't coincidence," Jasmine explained over breakfast. "They abandon you in the desert, then immediately file papers claiming you're mentally unstable. If you'd shown up at that evaluation confused and upset, it would have looked like proof. But I didn't do anything wrong." That's not how it works. In cases like this, the person who controls the narrative controls everything. She showed me the petition they'd filed. According to my father, I'd become increasingly paranoid and delusional. I'd threatened Madison's safety. I'd made wild accusations about family finances. Every word was a lie. But it was written in legal language that made it sound convincing. "They're painting you as the crazy ex-daughter who can't accept that her child is special," Jasmine said. "It's actually brilliant in a sociopathic way." Phoenix Martinez arrived at noon. Jasmine's boyfriend was the kind of guy who looked like he lived in his computer, but his fingers moved across keyboards like a pianist playing a concert. "Your family's digital footprint is interesting," he said, pulling up screens full of data I couldn't understand. "Your father's company has some unusual financial patterns." "What kind of patterns?" "The kind that suggest money laundering." The room went quiet. Phoenix kept typing, his face growing more serious with each click. "Blackwell Technologies shows legitimate revenue, but the money flow doesn't match the business model. Payments coming in from shell companies. Wire transfers to offshore accounts. Classic signs of washing dirty money." "Do you see what was happening?" While I was being set up as the unstable daughter, my father was running a criminal enterprise worth millions. And Madison was the perfect cover. Who would investigate a trust fund set up for a brilliant 6-year-old?
There's more, Phoenix said.
I found traces of your social security number being used to open cryptocurrency accounts. Someone's been funneling money through digital currency using your identity.
My phone rang.
Unknown number. Don't answer it, Jasmine warned. But I was done running. Done hiding. Done letting other people control my story. I answered. Serafina. My father's voice was cold as winter. You missed your appointment today. I'm not crazy, Dad. That's exactly what someone who's crazy would say. Madison is worried about you. She thinks you might hurt yourself. Madison is 6 years old. She doesn't think anything you don't tell her to think. Silence. Then, come home. We can work this out as a family. Like you worked things out when you left me in the desert? That was Madison's choice. She's very mature for her age. She's a child. She's the future of this family, and you're the past. The line went dead, but Phoenix was still typing, and his face had gone pale. We have a problem, he said. A big one. What now? Your father's company? It's not just laundering money. It's laundering money for some very dangerous people. He turned his laptop toward me. The screen showed financial records that made my blood run cold. $3 million, he said. That's how much your father owes to a crime syndicate based in Las Vegas. And if he can't pay? Phoenix and Jasmine exchanged a look that said everything. People who owe money to these guys don't usually get to worry about family trusts, Phoenix said. They disappear. And that's when it hit me. My father wasn't just stealing from me to control Madison's inheritance. He was stealing from me because he was desperate, and desperate people do desperate things, including destroying their own daughters to save themselves. They came for me at 3 a.m. 2 men in white coats and a police officer with dead eyes. I watched them through Jasmine's bedroom window as they surrounded the house like hunters closing in on wounded prey. Have you ever felt completely powerless? Have you ever watched your freedom disappear before your eyes while everyone around you pretends it's for your own good? Serafina Blackwell, the officer called through a bullhorn. We have a court order for emergency psychiatric evaluation. Come out peacefully. My hands shook as I grabbed my phone. Jasmine was already awake, pulling clothes from her closet with military precision. Back door, she whispered.
Now.
We crawled through her house like burglars, staying low beneath the windows. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like thunder in my ears. This is insane, I breathed. They can't just drag me away. They can if a judge signed the order, Jasmine said. Your father's lawyers probably painted you as a danger to yourself and others. In cases involving children, judges don't take risks. The back door opened into darkness. Jasmine's car was parked 3 blocks away, hidden behind a storage unit where her cousin worked nights. As we ran through shadows, my phone buzzed with a text that made my blood freeze. It was a video from an unknown number. The thumbnail showed Madison's tear-streaked face. Don't watch it, Jasmine warned as we reached the car. Not here.
Not now.
But I couldn't help myself. My thumb hit play before my brain could stop it. Madison was sitting on her bed, crying so hard she could barely speak. Mommy, she sobbed into the camera. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say those things. Grandpa made me practice. He said if I didn't say them exactly right, something bad would happen to you. The video cut to black. And that's when I realized the most horrifying truth of all. My daughter wasn't my enemy. She was a victim too. The safe house was a broken-down motel on the edge of town where people paid by the hour and asked no questions. I must have watched Madison's video 50 times. Each viewing broke my heart a little more. Grandpa showed me pictures. Her tiny voice continued in the second part. Pictures of mommies who didn't listen. He said they got taken away forever, and their little girls never saw them again. Do you understand what kind of monster threatens a 6-year-old with losing her mother? What kind of grandfather uses fear to turn a child into a weapon? Jasmine paced the small room like a caged animal. This changes everything. If Madison was coerced into those statements, the psychiatric evaluation loses its foundation. But who sent me the video? Someone who wants to help. Someone with access to your family's private moments.
My phone rang.
The same unknown number. This time, I answered immediately. Who is this? Someone who's been watching your family destroy itself for months. The voice was older, female, careful. Someone who's tired of seeing children used as pawns. Are you recording Madison? I'm documenting evidence. Your father has been coaching her for weeks, teaching her exactly what to say, when to say it, how to act afraid of you. My chest felt like it was caving in. Who are you? That doesn't matter yet. What matters is that Madison isn't the only victim in this house. What do you mean? Your mother, Serafina. When's the last time you spoke to her directly? When's the last time she called you without your father listening in? I tried to remember. Every conversation with Mom in the past year had happened with Dad nearby. Every text message felt scripted, cold. He controls everything, the voice continued. Where she goes, who she talks to, what she says. Your mother has been trying to protect both you and Madison, but she's trapped. That's impossible. My mother chose them over me. Your mother is terrified. Your father told her that if she doesn't cooperate, he'll make sure she never sees Madison again. And given his connections to some very dangerous people, that threat carries weight. The line went quiet for a moment. There's something else. Something you need to know about tomorrow. What about tomorrow? Your father isn't just planning to have you committed. He's planning to make you disappear permanently. My blood turned to ice. What are you talking about? The men he owes money to? They've given him 48 hours to come up with $3 million. He's planning to use your identity theft charges as cover. Make it look like you stole the money and ran away. But that's brilliant from a criminal standpoint. You disappear, the debt gets blamed on you, and he keeps control of Madison's trust fund to pay his real creditors. Jasmine grabbed my arm, her eyes wide with alarm. Except for one problem, the voice said.
What?
I have video evidence of everything. Every coaching session with Madison. Every illegal money transfer. Every threat he's made. Hope flickered in my chest for the first time in days. But I need something from you first. What? I need you to trust me. Tomorrow night, when they think you're safely locked away, I'm going to need you to do something that seems impossible. What? The voice paused, and I could hear Madison crying in the background. I need you to save your mother. Phoenix's fingers flew across the keyboard like he was composing a symphony of revenge. We'd spent 18 hours planning what he called the most beautiful hack of my career. But beautiful wasn't the word I'd use to describe breaking into my father's company servers while hiding from psychiatric evaluators. Have you ever had to become a criminal to prove you're not crazy? Have you ever realized that sometimes the only way to find justice is to break a few laws? Your father's security is a joke, Phoenix muttered, pulling up screen after screen of financial data. He's got millions moving through cryptocurrency exchanges, shell companies in 3 different countries, and he's documenting everything. Why would he document crimes? Because he's not the mastermind. He's the fall guy. Jasmine looked up from her own laptop. What do you mean? Phoenix turned his screen toward us. Look at the payment patterns. Your father receives dirty money, cleans it through his tech company, then sends it back minus a commission. Classic money laundering operation. So he's just the middleman?
Exactly.
And middlemen are expendable. The motel room felt smaller with each revelation. My father wasn't just a thief. He was a criminal caught between his victims and his bosses, using his own family as shields. There's more, Phoenix said. I found the original trust documents for Madison's inheritance. Want to guess who really set it up? My father? Your grandfather. Before he died, he established a trust that was supposed to be split equally between you and any future grandchildren. My heart stopped. Split equally? Your father has been stealing your half for 3 years, using it to cover his gambling debts and laundering fees. Jasmine leaned forward. Can we prove it? We can do better than prove it. We can trace every stolen dollar back to its source. Phoenix opened another program. I've been mapping your father's entire financial network. Bank accounts, cryptocurrency wallets, overseas transfers. The whole thing. The screen filled with a web of connections that looked like a spider's web. At the center was Blackwell Technologies. But the strands reached out to dozens of other companies, most of them with names I didn't recognize. This is bigger than family drama, Phoenix said. Your father is part of a network that's been washing money for organized crime, drug dealers, human traffickers. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. My phone buzzed. A text from the mysterious voice who'd been helping us. They're moving tonight. Your father just transferred $5 million to an offshore account. He's planning to run. What about Madison? He's taking her with him. Your mother, too. He can't leave witnesses behind. My world tilted sideways. He's kidnapping my daughter? Not kidnapping. Relocating. To a country with no extradition treaty. Once he's there, you'll never see Madison again. Jasmine grabbed her keys. We have to call the police. With what evidence? I asked. Everything Phoenix found was obtained illegally. It won't hold up in court. Then what do we do?
My phone rang.
The mysterious helper again. I have a plan, the voice said. But it requires perfect timing and nerves of steel. I'm listening. In 2 hours, your father is meeting with his criminal associates at the Blackwell Technologies building. He's bringing the final payment to clear his debts. How do you know this? Because I'm going to be there. Who are you? Someone who's been planning this moment for a very long time. The line went quiet for a beat. Serafina, do you trust me enough to walk into that building tonight? Knowing that your father's criminal partners will be there? Knowing that if this goes wrong, you could end up dead? I looked at Jasmine and Phoenix, two people who'd risked everything to help a stranger fight an impossible battle. Yes, I said. I trust you.
Good.
Because in exactly 90 minutes, we're going to destroy your father's entire operation. We're going to save Madison. And we're going to make sure justice finally wins.
How?
By giving those dangerous men exactly what they want. Which is the person who's really been stealing their money. And that's when I realized the most shocking truth of all. The mysterious voice helping me wasn't a stranger. It was someone who'd been watching my father's crimes from the inside. Someone who'd been gathering evidence for months. Someone who had just as much to lose as I did. The Blackwell Technologies building looked like a glass cathedral in the moonlight. I sat in Jasmine's car across the street, watching shadows move behind the lit windows on the 20th floor. My father was up there, probably counting money and planning his escape. Have you ever walked into a trap knowing it might kill you? Have you ever bet everything on the word of someone whose identity you don't even know? Last chance to back out, Jasmine said. We could drive away right now. Start over somewhere else. And leave Madison with him? Never. My phone buzzed. A text with instructions that made my stomach drop. Enter through the parking garage. Take the service elevator to floor 20. Come alone. Alone? Jasmine read over my shoulder. Absolutely not. If this goes wrong, I need you and Phoenix safe. Someone has to tell the world what really happened. I got out of the car before she could argue. The parking garage was darker than a tomb. My footsteps echoed off concrete walls as I made my way to the service elevator. Every shadow looked like a person waiting to grab me. The elevator climbed with painful slowness. Floor 10, floor 15, floor 18. On floor 20, the doors opened to reveal a hallway lined with expensive art and family photos I'd never seen before. Pictures of my father with politicians, celebrities, people I recognized from news reports about organized crime trials. One photo stopped me cold. It was my father shaking hands with a man whose face I'd seen on FBI wanted posters. Vincent the Shark Moretti, head of the West Coast's most violent crime family. Impressive, isn't it? I spun around. The woman standing behind me was in her 50s, elegant, with steel gray hair and eyes that had seen too much. Hello, Serafina, she said. I'm Detective Sarah Chen. I've been investigating your father for 8 months. You're a cop? Undercover. I've been working as his personal assistant, documenting every crime, every threat, every illegal transaction. My brain struggled to process this. You're the mysterious helper? I'm the person who's been trying to build a case strong enough to bring down his entire operation. But I needed an inside witness. Someone who could testify about the family crimes. The identity theft. Madison's trust fund. All of it. But your father got suspicious. He was about to fire me, maybe worse. So, I accelerated the timeline. Detective Chun led me down the hallway toward voices coming from a conference room. In about 30 seconds, you're going to meet some very dangerous men. They think they're here to collect their final payment from your father. Aren't they? They're here to discover that someone has been stealing from them for months. Someone who used his own daughter's identity to hide the theft. We stopped outside the conference room door. Through the glass, I could see my father sitting at a long table with 3 men in expensive suits. One of them was Vincent Moretti. He really did steal from them using your name, Detective Chin whispered. But not for gambling debts. He's been skimming money from their laundering operation and hiding it in accounts opened with your social security number. How much? $12 million. The number hit me like a physical blow. 12 million. The men in that room think your father was working alone. They have no idea he has a daughter, a granddaughter, or a wife. To them, Serafina Blackwell is just a name on financial documents. I started to understand the plan. But if they find out I exist, they'll want to know where their money is. And your father will have to choose between his own life and yours. Detective Chun handed me a small recording device. Everything they say in the next 10 minutes will be admissible in court. But you have to get them to say it.
How?
Walk in there. Tell them who you are. And watch your father's world collapse. I looked through the glass one more time. My father was laughing at something Vincent Moretti had said. He looked relaxed, confident. He had no idea his daughter was about to walk through that door. What about Madison? Safe. I moved her and your mother to a secure location 2 hours ago. My mother knew about this? Your mother has been my informant from the beginning. She's the one who contacted the FBI about your father's crimes. Detective Chin opened the conference room door. Gentlemen, she announced. I'd like you to meet Serafina Blackwell. The room went silent. My father's face turned white as death, and Vincent Moretti smiled like a shark who just smelled blood in the water. Well, he said. The mysterious Serafina. We've been very curious about you. Have you ever seen a grown man realize his life is over? My father's hands shook as Vincent Moretti stood up from the conference table. The other men flanked him like wolves, their eyes cold and calculating. Marcus, Vincent said, his voice soft as silk. You told us Serafina Blackwell was just a business partner. Someone who handled your financial arrangements. Dad's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. She is... Then why, Vincent continued, does she look exactly like you? Same eyes. Same stubborn chin. Same lying mouth. I stayed frozen by the door, the recording device in my palm capturing every word. Do you know what it feels like to watch the person who destroyed your life finally face consequences? To see karma arrive in an expensive suit with murder in its eyes? She's my daughter, Dad whispered. Your daughter. Vincent's smile got wider. The daughter who's been stealing from us for months. The daughter whose accounts show $12 million of our money. I can explain. Oh, I'm sure you can. Vincent walked around the table like a predator circling prey. I'm sure you have a wonderful story about how your little girl somehow accessed our financial networks and moved millions of dollars without anyone noticing. Detective Chun stepped forward. Mr. Moretti, perhaps we could discuss this calmly. Vincent laughed. Sarah, you've been such a helpful assistant. But this is family business now. That's when I realized Detective Chun was in just as much danger as I was. These men didn't care about badges or law enforcement. They made their own justice. The money, Vincent said, turning back to my father. Where is it? I don't know. Serafina handled the accounts. She must have moved it. The betrayal hit me like a slap. Even facing death, he was still trying to destroy me. Is that true, Serafina? Vincent asked. Did you steal $12 million from us? This was it. The moment Detective Chun had planned. The moment where I had to choose between truth and survival. No, I said, my voice stronger than I felt. I never touched your money. I didn't even know it existed until 3 days ago. Then who did? I looked straight at my father. Ask him. Ask him about the cryptocurrency accounts he opened in my name. Ask him about the identity theft. Ask him about the gambling debts he's been covering with your money. Vincent's eyes never left my face. You're saying your father framed you? I'm saying my father has been using my identity to commit crimes for years. And when I found out, he tried to have me committed to a psychiatric hospital. The room went deadly quiet. Vincent turned to my father. Is this true, Marcus? She's lying. She's disturbed. I have medical records that prove. The medical records you fabricated? Detective Chen interrupted. The ones based on coached testimony from a 6-year-old child? Vincent's expression changed. The predatory smile faded into something much more dangerous. There's a child involved in this? My granddaughter, Dad said quickly. She's very mature. She understands business. She's 6 years old, I said. And she's been terrorized into lying about me. Vincent sat back down. Marcus, we've been in business together for 2 years. In all that time, did you ever mention having a daughter? I know. Did you ever mention having a granddaughter? She wasn't relevant to our business. But she became relevant when you needed someone to blame for your theft. Dad's face crumpled. I was going to pay it back. I just needed more time. $12 million, Marcus. That's not a cash flow problem. That's not a temporary setback. That's theft on a scale that demands consequences. Vincent stood up again. Here's what's going to happen. You have 24 hours to return our money. All of it. I don't have it. Then you'll find it. Sell your company. Liquidate your assets. Cash out your granddaughter's trust fund. I can't touch Madison's trust. It's protected. Vincent's smile returned. Nothing is protected, Marcus. Not your company. Not your assets. Not your family. The threat hung in the air like poison gas. And if you run, Vincent continued, we'll find you. We'll find your wife. We'll find your granddaughter. And we'll make sure you regret the day you decided to steal from us. He turned to me. You, Serafina. You seem like a smart girl. Smarter than your father, anyway. I am. Good. Then you understand that your father has put your entire family in danger. His debts are now your debts. His enemies are now your enemies. My blood turned to ice. I didn't do anything wrong. Wrong and right don't matter now. What matters is that $12 million gets returned to us. And if your father can't manage that, he shrugged. Well, family businesses sometimes require family solutions. Detective Chen stepped closer to me. Mr. Moretti, surely we can work out a reasonable arrangement. The arrangement is simple. 24 hours. $12 million. Or the Blackwell family learns what happens to people who steal from Vincent Moretti. He headed toward the door, his men following. Oh, and Marcus? Vincent paused. Don't even think about running to the police. We have friends in law enforcement too. The door closed behind them with a soft click. Detective Chen immediately pulled out her phone. We need backup. Now. But I barely heard her. I was staring at my father, who sat slumped in his chair like a broken doll. 24 hours, I said. You have 24 hours to fix what you've done to our family. He looked up at me with tears in his eyes. I'm sorry, Serafina. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't bring back $12 million, Dad. I know. But there might be another way. What way? He pulled out his phone and showed me a text message. Your grandfather's second will. The one I never told you about. My heart stopped. What second will? The one that leaves everything to whoever shows true character in times of crisis. And that's when I realized the game wasn't over. It was just beginning. Have you ever discovered that your dead grandfather was still fighting battles from beyond the grave? The second will was hidden in a safety deposit box I never knew existed. Detective Chen drove us there at midnight while my father sat in the back seat looking like a corpse. He never mentioned this, Dad kept saying. 30 years of managing his estate, and he never said a word about a second will. The bank vault felt like a tomb. My hands shook as I opened the metal box with the key Dad had been carrying in his wallet for 3 years without knowing what it unlocked. Inside was a single envelope marked for whoever proves themselves worthy. Do you believe in messages from the dead? Do you think people can reach across death to save the living? The letter was in my grandfather's handwriting. If you're reading this, my son Marcus has failed as both a businessman and a father. The first will I left was a test. I wanted to see if he would use his inheritance to build something meaningful or destroy it through greed and stupidity. Based on the fact that you're in this vault at midnight with lawyers and possibly police officers, I assume he chose destruction. The real inheritance, $47 million in gold, bonds, and cryptocurrency, belongs to whoever in my family shows true character when everything falls apart. Marcus, if you're reading this, you failed. You put money above family, greed above love, and your own comfort above your daughter's welfare. Serafina, if you're reading this, you passed. You fought for your child when the world turned against you. You chose truth over safety, justice over peace. The inheritance is yours. All of it. Use it wisely. And Marcus? You get nothing. The vault went silent except for my father's broken sobbing. 47 million, Detective Chin whispered. More than enough to pay off Moretti and disappear forever. But I wasn't thinking about the money. I was thinking about my grandfather's words. You chose truth over safety, justice over peace. Had I? Or was I just a scared mother fighting for survival? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Moretti's men are at your apartment. They're looking for you. You have 12 hours left. We need to move, Detective Chin said. Get the money and get out of the country.
No.
Serafina, be reasonable. Vincent Moretti doesn't forgive debts. Even if you pay him, he'll always see your family as a liability. I looked at my father, still crying in his chair like a child. Dad, do you love Madison? He nodded without looking up. Do you want her to grow up afraid? Looking over her shoulder? Wondering when bad men are going to come for her family? Of course not. Then we're not running. We're fighting. Detective Chun stared at me. Fighting Vincent Moretti is suicide. Maybe. But running from him is just slower suicide. He'll find us eventually. And when he does, Madison will be older. Old enough to understand that her family are cowards who chose money over justice. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I never thought I'd call. Who are you calling? Dad asked. Vincent Moretti. You have balls, little girl. I'll give you that. Vincent Moretti sat across from me in a 24-hour diner that smelled like grease and broken dreams. It was 3 a.m, and we were the only customers except for a drunk man arguing with invisible enemies in the corner booth. Had you ever negotiated with a killer? Have you ever looked evil in the eye and tried to find something human underneath? I have your money, I said, sliding a bank statement across the table. All 12 million. Plus interest. Vincent studied the paper like it might explode. Where did you get $47 million? Does it matter? It matters if it's stolen. I don't need heat from other families. It's clean. Inherited. Completely legal. Vincent's phone buzzed. He answered without taking his eyes off me. Yeah? Check it out. No, I don't care how long it takes. Call me back. He hung up. My accountant is verifying your funds. If they're real, you've solved one problem, but you've created another. Which is, your father stole from me for 8 months. That shows disrespect. In my business, disrespect spreads like cancer. Other people start thinking they can steal from Vincent Moretti and live to tell about it. I'd expected this. Detective Chun had warned me that paying the money wouldn't be enough. What do you want? Justice. Your father needs to face consequences for his betrayal. What kind of consequences? Vincent smiled. The permanent kind. My stomach dropped. You want to kill him? I want to send a message. Cross Vincent Moretti and die. Simple.
Clean.
Educational. The drunk man in the corner booth started laughing at something only he could see. There's another way, I said. I'm listening. You don't need my father dead. You need him destroyed, humiliated, made into an example that's more useful alive than dead. Vincent leaned back. Go on. My father has been laundering money for other criminal organizations besides yours. Drug dealers, arms traffickers, human smugglers. If someone were to expose his entire network, the FBI would have dozens of arrest warrants within a week. And every criminal who trusted Marcus Blackwell would learn what happens when you do business with someone who can't keep his mouth shut. Vincent's eyes lit up with interest. You're suggesting I destroy his reputation instead of his body. I'm suggesting you make him radioactive. No criminal will ever trust him again. No legitimate business will work with him. He'll be broke, alone, and completely powerless. But alive. And miserable. Death and suffering. Public humiliation makes it permanent. Vincent's phone rang again. He listened for 30 seconds, then hung up. Your money is clean. $47 million from a trust fund established by Theodore Blackwell in 1987. Relief flooded through me. So, we have a deal? We have the beginning of a deal. I still need to know you're serious about destroying your father's life. What do you mean? Vincent pulled out a tablet and showed me a video file. This is security footage from your father's office. 3 months of meetings with criminal associates. Enough evidence to put half the West Coast underworld in prison. How did you get that? I've had cameras in his office since our partnership began. Insurance policy. I record everyone I do business with. The video showed my father shaking hands with men I recognized from FBI wanted posters, accepting briefcases full of cash, signing documents that were clearly illegal. Here's my offer, Vincent said. I give this footage to the FBI. Your father goes to prison for money laundering, tax evasion, and conspiracy charges. He'll serve 15 to 20 years. And in exchange, you keep your $47 million. I keep my $12 million. And everyone learns what happens to people who steal from me. It was perfect. Too perfect. What's the catch? Vincent's smile faded. The catch is that once I release this footage, your father becomes a liability to everyone he's ever done business with. Arms dealers, drug smugglers, human traffickers. They'll all want him dead to protect their own operations. So he'll die in prison. Probably within 6 months. Prisoners don't like child endangerers. And once word spreads that Marcus Blackwell used his own granddaughter as cover for criminal activity, Vincent shrugged. So your choice isn't really life or death. It's quick death or slow death. I stared at the tablet screen. My father looked so confident in those videos. So sure he was smarter than everyone around him. There's a third option, I said. Which is witness protection. My father testifies against all his criminal associates. The FBI gets dozens of arrests. The justice system handles punishment instead of your people. Vincent laughed. You think the FBI can protect him from me? I think the FBI can make him disappear better than you can make him dead. And why would I agree to that? Because a living witness who destroys dozens of criminal operations is more valuable than one dead example. You'll be known as the man who brought down the West Coast underworld. Vincent was quiet for a long moment. You're either very smart or very naive. Maybe both. His phone buzzed again. This time he read the message and frowned. We have a problem. What now? My associates just found your father's house. It's empty. No sign of your mother or granddaughter. My blood turned to ice. What do you mean empty? I mean someone moved them. Recently. The beds are still warm.
Detective Chun.
She'd moved them to a secure location. Where are they? That's what we're going to find out. And you're going to help us. Detective Chun's phone went straight to voicemail. I called 6 times from the passenger seat of Vincent Moretti's Mercedes while his driver navigated empty streets toward destinations I didn't recognize. Have you ever realized that your plan to save everyone might have killed them instead? Sarah Chun hasn't answered her phone in 2 hours, Vincent said, scrolling through messages on his tablet. Either she's very good at hiding or she's very dead.
She's not dead.
She's FBI. She is backup. My dear Serafina, FBI agents died just like everyone else. Sometimes faster because they think badges make them bulletproof. Vincent's phone rang. He answered on speaker. Tell me you found them. We found Detective Chen's car, a gravelly voice reported. Abandoned at the marina. No sign of her or the woman and child. Any blood? Negative. But her gun was still in the holster. She didn't draw it. Vincent hung up and turned to me. Your Detective Chen either left voluntarily or was taken by professionals. Either way, your mother and daughter are in the wind. My phone buzzed. A text from the same number that had been helping me all week. Meet me at Pier 47.
Come alone.
Bring Moretti. Who is that? Vincent asked, reading over my shoulder. I don't know. You don't know who's been feeding you information for days? I thought it was Detective Chen. But if she's missing... Vincent's expression hardened. Someone has been playing all of us. The marina was dark except for security lights reflecting off Blackwater. Vincent's men spread out like hunting dogs while we walked toward Pier 47. Do you know what it feels like to walk into a trap when you have no other choice? When every step might be your last, but stopping means losing everything. A figure stepped out of the shadows at the end of the pier. My mother. Hello, Serafina. I stopped walking. Mom. She looked older than I remembered.
Thinner.
Like she'd been carrying weight that wasn't physical. Where's Madison? Safe. For now. Vincent stepped beside me. Mrs. Blackwell. This is unexpected. Mr. Moretti. I wish I could say it was a pleasure. You're the mystery informant, I said. You've been helping me all week. Mom nodded. I've been planning this for months. Ever since I discovered what your father was really doing. Why didn't you just call me? Because Marcus was monitoring everything. My phone, my email, my movements. The only way to help you was to make him think I was still on his side. Vincent crossed his arms. Where is Detective Chen? Detective Chen never existed. My world tilted sideways. What do you mean? Sarah Chen is retired FBI. She's been working as a private investigator for the past year. I hired her to gather evidence against your father. But she said she was undercover.
She was. Just not for the FBI.
For me. Mom walked closer, and I could see tears in her eyes. Serafina, I've been trapped in that house for 2 years. Your father controls every dollar I spend, every person I talk to, every place I go. When I found out he was using Madison to destroy you, I knew I had to act. So, you hired a private investigator. I hired 3 private investigators. Sarah Chun was just the one who got closest to Marcus. The other 2 gathered evidence on his criminal associates. Vincent laughed. You orchestrated this entire week. The psychiatric evaluation, the identity theft discovery, the escape to the motel. All of it. Not all of it. Serafina's strength was real. Her love for Madison was real. Her refusal to give up was real. But you manipulated her. I guided her toward the truth. There's a difference. Vincent's phone buzzed. He read the message, and his expression darkened. My men just searched your house, Mrs. Blackwell. It's been cleaned out. Professional job. Where did you move $47 million worth of assets? Mom smiled. I didn't move them, Mr. Moretti. I donated them. Donated them to whom? The victims of human trafficking, drug addiction recovery programs, organizations that help abused children. Vincent went very still. All 47 million? Every penny. Along with detailed records of where the money came from and why it was being donated. You gave away my payment. I gave away blood money, Mr. Moretti. Money my father-in-law earned through partnerships with people like you. Vincent pulled out his gun. That was very stupid, Mrs. Blackwell. Maybe. But it was also recorded. She held up her phone, which had been live-streaming our entire conversation. Recorded by whom? The real FBI. Agent Sarah Chun may be retired, but she still has friends in active service. Friends who've been very interested in Vincent Moretti's business operations. Red laser dots appeared on Vincent's chest. Mr. Moretti, a voice called through a megaphone. This is Agent Rodriguez, FBI. You're surrounded. Drop your weapon. Vincent looked at his gun, then at my mother, then at me. You played me. We played each other, Mom said. The difference is that I was playing for my family. You were playing for money. Vincent dropped his gun. And that's when I realized the most incredible truth of all. My mother hadn't abandoned me. She'd been saving me all along. The FBI arrested 17 people that night.
Vincent Moretti.
His 3 associates. My father. 12 of Dad's criminal contacts who were caught in a coordinated sweep across 3 states. Have you ever watched your entire family's criminal empire collapse in real time? Have you ever felt relief and grief at exactly the same moment? Agent Rodriguez debriefed us at the FBI field office until sunrise. Madison slept in my arms while lawyers, prosecutors, and federal agents planned cases that would take years to resolve. Your mother orchestrated one of the most successful undercover operations I've ever seen, Agent Rodriguez told me. And she did it without any official law enforcement training. Mom sat across from us looking exhausted but peaceful. I had good motivation. The evidence you gathered will put Vincent Moretti away for life. Your father's testimony about the money laundering network will destroy organized crime operations from Seattle to San Diego. What happens to Dad? Witness protection. New identity. Probably 15 years in minimum security prison, then supervised release. And Madison? Agent Rodriguez smiled. Legally, you're her guardian now. Your father signed over custody rights as part of his plea agreement. I looked down at my sleeping daughter. 6 years old, and she'd been through more trauma than most adults experience in a lifetime. Will she be safe? Vincent Moretti's organization is finished. The other criminal groups your father betrayed will be too busy avoiding prison to worry about revenge. But what about the money? The $47 million Mom donated. Agent Rodriguez exchanged glances with Mom. That's where things get interesting. What do you mean? Mom leaned forward. Serafina, I didn't actually donate all the money. My heart stopped. What? I donated $30 million. The other $17 million is in a trust fund for Madison. Clean money, completely legal, managed by a team of lawyers who specialize in protecting crime victims. $17 million? Your grandfather wanted his great-granddaughter to have choices in life. This ensures she'll have them. Agent Rodriguez stood up. Mrs. Blackwell, we need you to sign some final paperwork. The prosecutor wants to review your testimony before the grand jury hearing. Mom kissed Madison's forehead, then followed the agent out of the room. I sat alone with my daughter, watching her sleep peacefully for the first time in months. Do you believe in happy endings? Do you think justice actually wins sometimes, or do the good guys just get lucky? Madison opened her eyes. Mommy, I'm here, baby. Are the bad men gone? Yes, sweetheart. The bad men are gone. Is Grandpa a bad man? The hardest question of all. How do you explain to a 6-year-old that her grandfather isn't evil, just broken? That love and crime can exist in the same heart. Grandpa made some very bad choices. He hurt people, including you and me. But I think he loves you in his own way. Will I see him again? I don't know. Maybe someday when you're older. If you want to. Madison sat up and looked around the FBI office. Where are we going to live now? Anywhere we want. We're free now, Madison. Really free. Can we get a dog? I laughed for the first time in weeks.
Yes.
We can definitely get a dog. A big dog or a little dog? Whatever size dog makes you happy. Madison smiled, and I saw my grandfather's stubborn determination in her eyes. The same determination that had carried me through the worst week of my life. I want a big dog, she said. Big enough to protect us if more bad men come. No more bad men are coming, baby. I promise. How do you know? Because sometimes I wanted to tell her love really does win. Sometimes the good guys get lucky. Sometimes mothers find strength they didn't know they had, and sometimes grandmothers risk everything to save their families. But she was 6 years old. So instead I said, because Grandma and I will always protect you. No matter what. Madison hugged me tight. I love you, Mommy. I love you too, baby. More than you'll ever know. 6 months later, we were living in a house by the ocean. Madison named our German shepherd Justice because she said he looked like a police dog. Every morning, we walked on the beach while he chased seagulls and she collected shells. Have you ever started over completely? Have you ever built a new life from the ashes of the old one? The trials were front-page news for weeks. Vincent Moretti got life without parole. 17 other criminals received sentences ranging from 10 to 30 years. The money laundering network my father exposed led to investigations across 4 countries. Dad testified for 3 months. Agent Rodriguez said his cooperation saved hundreds of lives by stopping human trafficking operations, drug distribution networks, and arms dealing schemes. But he was still my father, and Madison still asked about him. He sends letters. I told her one morning as we sat on our porch watching the sunrise. Would you like to read them? Are they nice letters? They're apologetic letters. He says he's sorry for the things he did. He says he misses you. Madison was 7 now, old enough to understand more than I wished she had to. Does he miss you too, Mommy? I think so. Are you still mad at him? The million-dollar question. Was I still angry at the man who'd nearly destroyed both our lives? Who'd used his own granddaughter as a weapon? Who'd chosen greed over family at every possible moment? I'm not as angry as I used to be, I said. Anger takes a lot of energy. I'd rather use that energy to build a good life for us. Can we visit him? Do you want to? Madison was quiet for a long moment, throwing a tennis ball for Justice to retrieve. I want to ask him why he scared me. That sounds like a reasonable question. And I want to tell him that I know he lied, that you never hurt me, that you're the best mommy in the world. My heart swelled. You can tell him that if you want to. Will you come with me? If that's what you want, yes. Mom lived 3 blocks away in a cottage she'd bought with money from her book deal. She'd written a memoir about exposing criminal networks and protecting abused children. It became a bestseller and launched her career as an advocate for crime victims' families. Do you believe people can change? Do you think someone who spent years being controlled and silenced can become strong and independent? Every Sunday, we had dinner together. Madison, Mom, Justice, and me. We talked about school, books, beach walks, and the future. We never talked about Dad unless Madison brought him up first. Grandma, Madison said during one of these dinners, do you miss Grandpa? Mom paused, her fork halfway to her mouth. I miss the man I thought he was when I married him, but that man might never have existed. What do you mean? I mean, people sometimes pretend to be good when they're really not. And other times, good people make terrible choices that turn them into bad people. Which one was Grandpa? I don't know, sweetheart. Maybe both. Madison nodded like this made perfect sense to her 7-year-old brain. I think he was good but got lost, she said. Like when we get lost at the store and can't find our way back to Mommy. That's a very wise way to think about it. Maybe someday he'll find his way back. Mom and I exchanged glances. Madison's optimism was heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. Maybe he will, Mom said. That night, after Madison was asleep, I sat on the beach with Justice and thought about forgiveness. Not the kind of forgiveness that excuses terrible behavior, but the kind that releases you from carrying someone else's crimes in your heart. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Serafina, this is your father. I know I have no right to contact you, but I wanted you to know that I'm getting help. Real help. Therapy, addiction counseling, financial responsibility classes. I can't undo what I did, but I'm trying to understand why I did it. Maybe someday you'll let me explain. Not to ask for forgiveness, but to give you the answers you deserve. I love you and Madison more than my own life. I know that sounds hollow given my actions, but it's true. I hope you're both happy and safe. That's all I've ever really wanted. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it. Not because I was angry, but because forgiveness has to be earned, not requested. And some mistakes take years to repair, if they can be repaired at all. But for the first time in months, I felt something other than hatred when I thought about my father. I felt hope. Hope that people can change. Hope that families can heal. Hope that love, even damaged love, might be stronger than the mistakes we make. Madison found me on the beach an hour later. She was wearing her pajamas and carrying her favorite stuffed animal. Couldn't sleep. I had a dream about Grandpa. A bad dream?
No.
A good dream. He was teaching me to ride a bicycle. He was different. Nicer. Like the grandpa you told me about from when you were little. She sat down beside me in the sand. Justice immediately moved to sit between us, his warm body a comforting presence. Do you think people can be different in dreams than they are in real life? I think dreams sometimes show us the people we wish someone could be. Or the people they used to be before they got lost. I hugged my daughter close. You might be right about that. Will you teach me to ride a bicycle? Of course. Tomorrow? If you want. Madison smiled. I want to learn everything. Reading and riding bikes and swimming and taking care of dogs and being brave like you. Being brave like me? You saved us, Mommy. Grandma told me. You saved our whole family. I thought about that as we walked back to the house. Had I saved us? Or had we saved each other? Maybe it didn't matter. Maybe what mattered was that we were safe, we were free, and we were building something good from the wreckage of something terrible. Maybe that's what families do. They save each other. One choice at a time. One day at a time. One act of love at a time. Until the darkness becomes light and the ending becomes a beginning. Have you ever realized that your story isn't over? That no matter how bad things get, there's always another chapter waiting to be written? This is mine. This is ours. And it's just the beginning.